welcome back to the second part of this car AI tutorial for Unity. As you can see, I've got a track set up now and my car is going around the track. I've added a lot more waypoints than I had before, and I've had to adjust the settings of the AI to get it to move smoothly and stay on the track. The track itself I got from the asset store, so there's a free package called Dust and Rust Racetrack, and that allows you to download a whole bunch of tracks and cars and things like that. So I've just used the prefab sections of the track in this case. Now, while I've been talking about that, I can see that my car has got stuck. So I'll just go down and have a quick look because I think I know what the problem is. So any track in this case, because I've just thrown it together and it's not flat, if it's got a mesh collider on it, it will stop your car. Now that's okay if you want your car to bump into the sides, but in this case I've kind of dodged this up. So I'm just going to turn off that mesh collider on that piece of track, and now you can see my car is continuing to go on its merry way, and it will continue to go around that track. The settings I've got on my AI, if you're interested, are just here. So I'll just pull this up onto the screen for a moment, and you can pause if you want to copy out these values that I've got for your own AI. Now, if you want to add more than one car, after you've got one set up, it's always a good idea to get one set up and working before you add multiple cars, is that you can grab that car and duplicate it. So Control D, which will create a second car for you, then hit the W key so that you can separate those two cars out. And now when you press play, you'll have two cars driving, trying to keep on that track, but also trying to keep away from each other. So the AI script also has a lot of steering behaviors like we've used in flocking algorithms in the past to keep the cars away. So although they've got exactly the same code and behavior on them, you can see that they are different and they're providing different behaviors. So one car's obviously already pulled out in front, even though they started at exactly the same position. Now, you can add a lot of AI cars doing this, but of course they're all going to be exactly the same. So how do we change the model of the car? Well, first of all, you need to duplicate your car that's working. And then what we'll do is replace this sky car element here. Before you can do that, you do need your own model of a car. Now, I downloaded the car I use quite a lot, which is a free cartoon car. Here it is here. I'll just drag that into the scene. And he's quite small, so I might just resize it as well. The important thing about the model that you get for the car that you want to use is that it is facing in the same direction as the sky car. So if we select the sky car here, hit the W key to see the way it's facing along the forward vector, so the blue vector in this case. Now if you click on your free car, it's also facing along its free vector. It doesn't matter that it's facing off the track, that's beside the point because we can just turn it around like that. Now the other thing you'll need to check is that it has four wheels that are separate objects, and it does. And the wheels also, if I hit W, need to be facing in the forward direction, when you select it. So you can see that they are there, all with that forward one. You do not want the blue arrow sticking out the side of the tyre. What will happen is the car's tyres will actually roll over on their side, which looks quite funny. And if you're after that effect, I guess that's a good thing. But in this case, we're not. Now, with this free car here, we want to position it on top of the existing sky car, which is inside of this car waypoint based one here. Let's just rename this so that we don't get too confused. Well, let's just call it car 2. And then grab your free car and drag and drop it onto car 2 so that it is now a child of the AI car. You want to position it at 0, 0, 0. So once it's added, go over to the transform and put it 0, 0, 0 like that, so that it's on top of the existing car. Now, the car script has all of the essential ingredients in it to make the tyres turn when the car is steering. So we want to use that benefit. That's why we need all of the wheels of the model separate. If you go and select car 2 from the top, look down through this list and we're looking for car controller. So the car controller script, you'll see that you can set it to a 4-wheel drive or rear or 2. Let's leave it at 4. The part that we're looking for are the wheel colliders for each of these wheels. And we've got wheel hub, front, right, front left, rear, etc. there. We've also got the wheel meshes themselves. Now, they're currently set to the colliders of the Sky car. So we want to replace these meshes here with the free car's wheel meshes. So the first one, let's just bring this out. It's the front right. So we grab hold of the front right, which is that one there, and replace it. And then we want the front left, which is that one. Replace it. The rear right, which is that one, and the rear left, which is that one. Now we're still using these particular colliders that are on the Sky car. At this point, if we press play, the car's not going anywhere in this case. So what's happened is that the wheels have been separated from the car model itself. But see the body of the car? It's got its own collider on it. We didn't take that off. And the body of the car's collider is sitting on the ground. Let's see if I can get closer to this for you. And the wheels aren't actually touching anywhere that they're going to be able to drive the car. So the whole body of the car is sunk down and the wheels are sitting up and spinning because the model for the wheels for the orange car are now positioned in the same spot as the purple car. So an easy way to fix that, if we stop playing, is to delete the collider that is around the orange car's body, which is this main collider here. So if we go to our free car and just turn off its box collider and press play, you can see that it falls enough to the ground that allows it to drive with its own wheels. So it's the wheels pushing it forward. Now, to make it look a tad more realistic, you need to align the colliders that are on the Sky car with your new car. If I just turn off my free car at the moment, just for a second, and select the Sky car, and go up to colliders actually, select the colliders under car 2 and have a look. You can see that there's 3 colliders. The car has a body collider which sits there in the body of the car. Then there's a front collider, which is the front part of the car sitting there. And then there's a bottom one that sits as a skirt at the very bottom of the car. So that's going to stop the car falling through the ground at that point there. You want to align these 3 colliders with your model. So if we turn the free car back on and I'll turn the Sky car off, we can now align these colliders. So if we grab hold of the body collider and have a look at where that is, we can then adjust it so that it fits nicely over the body of the car. So if we just move it around, and then we'll do the front, which is actually not too bad. I might just leave it like that. I'm not going to be too particular at this point. It'll take me all day. And then the bottom, we might just move it down in the Y direction so that it's skirting, and I might just make it a little shorter since that car is shorter, like that. All right, now the other thing we have as well are the wheel colliders or the wheel hubs. If we select the car again, you can see the wheel hubs are here in the car collider script, and they're underneath this wheel hubs section here inside that AI car. Now, if you select one such as the front right and hit the W key, which will show you where that is centered on. So for the Sky car, the wheel is up here, but for our car, it's down there. You want to move that wheel hub collider onto the wheel of your new car. And you want to do that for all of the colliders, for these wheel hubs. Okay, so now we'll press play and see how well we aligned. So not too bad. We can fix it up and make it a bit prettier if we have a bit more time to spend on it. But you can see it looks realistic enough. The car's not sinking through the ground and the tyres aren't sinking through the ground or sitting up in the air where it's impossible for the car to get any friction on the course. Finally, I want to show you how to add some script so that you can start your race when you want it to start rather than when you press play. First of all, you'll need to tag all of the cars that are AI cars in the game scene. So in the hierarchy, if we select our first car, we're going to add a tag of AI car. Now I've already done this, but you'll need to go into here, click on add tag, and then add the AI car tag, go back to the car, and then set its tag to AI car. Do the same thing with car 2 as well. And if you add any more cars, make sure that their tags are AI car. Then we're going to add an empty game object. I've already created it. It's called race controller. And onto that, I'm going to add a race controller script. So to create this script, you want to go into your project and go create C# script, call it race controller, and then inside that script we're going to have this code here. It's a very short piece of code and all it's going to do is turn on and off that car AI control script that's on the cars themselves. So just for a second, click the car, this script here. It's currently disabled, as you can see here. When this script is on, the car will behave as an AI. When it's off, the car is just going to sit there. So the script that we're adding, the race controller, will do that for us. At the top, what you'll need to add that's extra to the normal namespaces is the Unity standard assets.vehicles.car. And that is where it will find the car AI control. If you don't have this at the top, you will run into errors because it won't know about what car AI control is. Now, we're going to create a Boolean value called race started. This will help us keep track of whether we've started the race or not. So initially it's going to be set to false. Then an array of cars. So we'll put all of our AI cars into the one array so that we can easily access them and process them. In the start function, the AI cars array is set using the find game objects with tag. So this method here is going to look through all of the game objects in the hierarchy and look for any that have AI car as their tag and put them all into this nice little array here. Once we've done that, there's a for each loop that will loop around all of those cars. It will get their car AI control and disable it. So by saying enabled equals false, it will turn it off. We're doing this up in the start function to ensure that all those AI cars are turned off. And that saves you remembering to go through every time you create a new AI car and to untick the car AI control box that's in there. Now in update, we're going to test if the race hasn't started, so if not race started, and the user presses the space key. That's when the race will start. And at that point, we then use our same for each loop and loop through all of the cars, but this time we turn on the car AI control script by going enabled equals true. After we've done that, we then set race started to be true so that we can't get back inside this if statement later on because it doesn't need to run anymore. Right, so save that, then make sure in Unity that you grab this and drag and drop it onto your race controller empty game object that you've created. You can now press play to check that it's all working. So nothing should happen initially, and then you hit space and they will both start up because their AI controllers will be turned on. If you want to participate in this race yourself, you can go through and get hold of that Sky car prefab, which will be in vehicles, prefabs, and get the car one, not the car waypoint. Drag a copy of that car into the scene, and if we rotate that around, you should be able to drive that car. Now we might need to attach the camera to it, just having a look here. So it's not already on there. If we just go around behind this car, move the car to, or move the camera I should say, to where you kind of want to follow it from. And then get hold of the camera, and with it aligned the way you want it in this scene, select the camera and go Game Object, Align with View, and that will put your camera behind your car. But then you also want to drag and drop it onto your car so that it goes with your car. Now if you hit play, the other cars are going to drop to the track because of their colliders, and they won't go anywhere until you hit the space bar there. Let me just also move my camera up a little bit so I've got a better view of the track. Now I promise you that I am a terrible racing driver on these types of games, but let's just give it a go anyway. So if I hit the space bar so they can start, and then I can go as well. Remember, I've got no colliders on that track, so I can actually cheat. And I'm not restricted by waypoints. If I just wait here, they should come past me. Oh, or hit me as they go past. Right, so there you go. That is how to set up a very simple, very basic car AI system, also with a starting spacebar to get them going. But you don't have to use a spacebar to trigger them starting. You could use a countdown or anything. But the basic premise is there within that code. You can just trigger it by some other means. As always, the full project for this tutorial will be available to all Patreon members. Please subscribe if you'd like to help support this YouTube channel as well. And if you want to get in touch, then you can find me on Facebook.